Gun violence is an epidemic.
Are you proposing taking away their guns?
Yes.
Enough prayers. Time for some action.
You want to take everyone's guns away.
Bingo. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
We're going to take your AR-15.
We're not going to give up. We'll find you.
We will find you. KVUE.com was all over the place yesterday. Video hallway footage in Uvalde school shooting obtained by KVUE. And
that's a big deal.
Yeah, I have the clips here from the news report, and the guy who I guess is he a journalist? I don't know, a reporter that actually got the footage. But there's a lot of interesting numbers throughout this whole thing. They'll pop up. We'll mention it when they do. But here's the first clip here. There was a 20-minute broadcast here of the whole situation. Does
there need to be like a discretionary message on this? Is there going to be something disturbing we're going to see?
I forget I think I clipped out the actual guy saying like, hey, a little warning. They did edit out some of the sound and stuff. You do hear some gunshots where they do it, but I'll let you know when we're going to play that. This is just the first minute here setting up the clips from KVUE.
Senior investigative reporter Tony Pileski is here with us now to walk us through the video. Tony, you've seen this. According to your sources and reporting, you were able to obtain this video. We know it's going to be difficult. You know firsthand it's difficult to see what's on this video. So kind of peel back the reporting, if you can, on the curtain here of the video, the calls for its release, and why it's important to show the video to the public.
Well, as we first reported about 2.5 weeks ago, I was able to view the video in a private setting, but more recently, we have been able to obtain the video. As you can imagine, given the gravity of this situation, we have spent time going through it very carefully. We want to bring as much information as we can to the public, and as you mentioned, to those family members in Uvalde who have been seeking additional information. Again, just before we begin showing it, we do want to warn people once more. As I have been saying for 2 weeks now, this video is very disturbing. It is very difficult to watch. But at this point, I think we should begin showing our first portion. We've divided it into several clips, edited clips. Of course, we're not going to show all 77 minutes of it.
Interesting
77 minutes, huh?
The full video is 77 minutes long.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just a thing.
Just a coincidence.
What are we? Some conspiracy theorists or something? All right. So
weird.
Here's a little bit of the footage. Plays a little bit of it, and then they talk over it. And then I kind of have it all mushed into one video here because they go over a bunch of stuff in terms of him walking in, and then the police and the scramble that happens afterwards. Tell me if you want me to stop it at any point, Basil. And just so you know, the first maybe 30 seconds or so is sound from the surveillance camera of the shooter walking into the building. And
so this is the school video
surveillance
footage,
camera.
not the police body cams.
No, this is the actual camera that's in the ceiling. And so you'll hear a little bit of that at the beginning here. Here he's walking. He's going around a corner. And very nonchalant. And those of you watching, check out the time. And this is, I'll just play it here. There you hear the gunshots. And then they'll start commenting here.
And again, we know now that gunfire went on for about 2 minutes inside that classroom. So we know about 3 minutes after this happened that a number of officers from the Uvalde City Police Department, as well as from the school district, arrived.
About half a dozen officers, at least one with a rifle that we can see, protective vest.
Can you stop real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm on a little bit of a delay from you.
Yes. Are you going to talk about the kid?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was going to mention the kid because
the
that's
little
crazy.
boy, right? That's crazy. What happens
wanders in right behind him, like the grace of God just barely misses him as he turns down the hallway. The kid would have been staring him right in the face. Yeah. That would have been horrible.
Yeah.
But the time 11:33. Now, I couldn't quite match up exactly the time to when the shots started, but what were you seeing there?
It's literally like 11. Hold on, let me play this real quick here. 11:33. 11:33:28 is when the first shot is heard.
But 11:33 is basically when he walks in the door.
Within the minute, literally 11:33. Within the
second
minute.
Hits 11:33 and 0 seconds. He walks in. He
walks in, and within the minute, he's shooting kids.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
That is crazy.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just another one of those weird things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then as he turns right down a hallway and walks by, a kid would have been face to face with him, but is standing and watches him walk away.
Yes.
I don't know who that kid is.
The little boy, I guess he came out of a bathroom and he noticed that the guy had a gun. That's why and then he heard the shots and kind of ran away. So
my goodness. Yeah. And then the time skips. There's this weird part. The time skips.
Yeah.
And they skip directly to when cops.
Yeah. And then they put the breaking news.
But they blocked the time code.
Yep, with the breaking news.
They put a graphic in front of the time code as if they didn't want to show how long it took for the cops to get there.
Well, they talk about, the guy commenting says 3 minutes later. So hold on, let me see if
he does say that, but you cannot see it.
I know. Let's see.
After this happened, that a number of officers from the Uvalde City Police Department, as well as from the school district, arrived.
About half a dozen officers, at least one with a rifle that we can see protective vests on. More and more begin to arrive there. They initially pursue the gunman. You could see them go in the hallway there toward the classroom where the gunman was. They were then, you could hear, met with a blast of gunfire there. We assumed that was the gunman firing back at them from inside the classroom. They scattered and then retreat as well, Ashley, through the end of the hallway. And you can see them kind of taking up cover there on that end of the hallway.
Yeah, in fact, they're going to scatter here more so than what you see right now.
They actually, at this moment, have not made their approach. They're just about to do that when there is an exchange of gunfire.
Okay. So this is, again, about 4 minutes now into the more gunfire from inside. You can see the officers scrambling on that. At least 3 officers now retreat back down the hallway, knowing the armed subject is in the classroom. And I think this is the part when families are going to understand the officers were there inside the building within minutes of the gunman entering the classroom. They will stay in this area for about, Tony, the next 45 minutes?
That's right. Well, over that next 45 minutes, we see a number of officers arrive. We see added protective gear arrive. We see high-powered weapons arrive. We see officers donned in all sorts of protective equipment. At one point, you can see it there. They bring in tear gas canisters and put them down. So just a lot of movement among a growing number of law enforcement officials in that hallway. And I want to be clear, we're talking about law enforcement officials from a variety of agencies. The Uvalde City Police Department, the school district, the Uvalde County. Number of federal agents were there. And so when Colonel Steve
Is there something we're working up to here?
I'm trying.
Heads the Texas Department of Public Safety, describes this as an abject failure of law enforcement. He wasn't just referring to one agency. He was referring to law enforcement as a whole that, again, in his words, failed to act in a timely manner, again, as those gunshots were happening. One thing I do want to point out is during that time that you see that time lapse, there is additional gunfire coming from the shooter. So Ashley, to your point earlier, they knew that there was active shooting, or should have known that there was active shooting going on at that time.
Yeah, they would have heard it. Okay. Yeah, right. I think it's interesting how there's only one camera. You would think if they have a sort of a camera system in the school, there would have been some more cameras that they could have switched to. They really just chilled on the one camera the whole time.
They do a what is it called? Picture in picture of one of the chest cams, like the cop chest cams in there.
Okay.
If you can kind of see,
but it doesn't
guy.
even show anything. It just kind of showed. They speed through it. It's on fast forward. It's like they fast forward. They mention the 45 minutes that go by, and they just kind of fast forward through it, which really shows nothing. It just shows sort of, well, from what we can see on that, it looks like meandering cops for 45 minutes, which of course has been the story.
Yeah, guns pointed down the hallway. Here's a 1 minute clip to end the whole report here.
We don't know why they responded or didn't respond the way they did. We are seeing for the first time that they, in fact, did not respond for more than an hour after trying to make that initial entry into that classroom. But what is still unexplained, and what the story that this video does not tell, is why. And certainly a lot of finger pointing has been at the school district police chief, but at the same time, I think people are going to have a very difficult time reconciling that there was that many police officers in that hallway, and yet no movement was made until 12:50 p.m. Keep in mind that the gunman entered the school at 11:30 a.m. 11:33 a.m. 11:33 a.m.
Does he correct himself there?
He does. He says 11:30 a.m. 11:33 a.m. Like he's scared. Like he's scared.
Very specific. Very specific. I mean, we know that that's very specific, and that means something to us that he didn't want to let that go without getting that time correct. Now, we did get an email from somebody who was just asking. Let me see if I can find it. They're just kind of asking what, why we pay attention to the 33 thing for so much. Why do we ring a bell? Why do we pay attention to 33? Why do we go, oh, whenever it pops up, stuff like that. And there's and they kind of asked for like a breakdown of 33, which is funny because we don't actually have time to do a full breakdown of 33
podcasts in a row.
It would be a whole thing, and certainly there's been a lot of good work done on that. Now, the general. And it depends on the context. Of course, Jesus was 33. You've got the Mason 33.
33 vertebrae. A lot going
33 on. Vertebrae, 33 secret societies use 33 for a lot of things. The occult focuses on 33. 33 shows up in the Bible.
33 levels of Freemasonry. Yeah.
33 levels of Freemasonry. A bunch of stuff like this. Now, in our context for this show, we've sort of noticed that 33 tends to be signaling something. And we don't claim to know exactly what it is. There are a lot of people who claim to know exactly what it is. And certainly somebody in the chat here soon will say that they have the secret code. And that they might. But the fact is, 33 shows up in very specific contexts when it seems to be, the easiest sort of assumption we're making is that the message is this is part of the plan, or it's some sort of signal, hiding in plain sight signal, which is a common thing for all sorts of secret societies to do, sending messages through mass media, stuff like that. Right. And so, it's weird when 33 keeps popping up in the biggest possible news stories. Almost no big world event happens without 33 being a serious, important data point. You had Biden's $33 billion to Ukraine. You had 1133 was this very second that the Uvalde shooter walked in, these types of things. We don't claim to know the exact meaning of it, but it certainly seems to be important to somebody.
Well,
and
I was just going to say that if not some deliberate mechanism, signaling, then some kind of spiritual imprint.
Good point. Yeah.
It's not carnal.
Right. That's not to say that some Illuminati handler had the Uvalde shooter standing outside the door and signaled him when to go in. Right. Yeah. That's not what it is to say, or that it's even conscious or purposeful. But yeah, it could be some sort of spiritual thing that just happens to keep popping up, that has some sort of higher meaning that we're not entirely able to decode right now.
I'll play this the full 33 jingle that we have here.
33 is the number of completion of the great work. The first temple of Solomon stood for 33 years. David ruled for 33 years in Jerusalem. The Masonic order divided into 33 symbolic degrees. There are 33 segments in the human spinal column. Jesus was crucified in the 33rd year of his life.
There you go. So there's just some
just a small sample. Yeah, it's funny because you could even do one of those mashups for like 33 cases of COVID, just $33 billion
33 cases
for
of COVID
Ukraine
all the time. Yeah, 33 billion to Ukraine. Yeah, it's everywhere.
It just pops up everywhere in like the most relevant ways. It's just very strange.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's that. Okay. Was there any more of these clips, the Uvalde clips?
That's it. That was the report. Yeah. And I guess I don't know. We'll find out what the people think about it in general. But
keep seeing what comes out of it.
It does appear as if the police knew. There was that one early moment where they kind of try to go in, but they get shot at, so they run back. And I don't know, man. It could be all. I don't know. And there's a lot of opinions in the chat too about PSYOP.
I'll say this:
false flag and
right.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know about that, and that could mean several different things. Right. But the point is, we've been hearing a story ever since Uvalde, a story being told, an evolving story, a story with a dozen different agencies, and none of the stories line up. And it's just a huge, huge debacle. The narrative power, the power of actually having some images come out to give the public anything to actually see and reference, I think is
and then the biggest
relevant.
Thing is he walks into the school at 11:33 a.m. It's like, wow. Okay.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, it really does show pretty much all the worst parts of what we knew, which was, they were there in 3 minutes and they seem to have had the chance to stop him, or at least, keep him from causing any more damage. And they, a couple of bullets came their way.
Chesty.
And what? You're
being chesty with your magical ice pack.
I'm not being chesty, Gons. We're doing a show, and there's listeners to the show who don't know are not watching me stick
I have
this
children. Cover your eyes.
This giant ice pack down. Gons, you're giving a false impression for those who are just listening. There's no chest being shown. I am sticking an ice pack down my shirt. Because, Gons, now that you brought it up, it's so hot, Gons. I'm so hot. What are you going to do about it? You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm... Gons. I am so hot. So hot. Here we
Sizzling.
Go. Just so everybody knows, I did bring more ice packs to this show, so I'll be switching out ice packs as we go.